Alright, I'm sure you are as curious as I am. What if we only use AI to build a Rust backend? Let's find out. Alright, so to keep it simple, we'll be building a simple Rust backend using ActiveWeb, quite similar to what we did in one of our previous tutorial videos, where we created or simulated a pizza shop. Okay, if you have not seen that, I'll put the link in the description box below or in the top pin comment. But as you can see here, we have ChatGPT with us. We also have Claude here with us as well in our web browser. And of course, I also have my terminal ready to stand by to write any commands that will be given to us by our either ChatGPT or Claude. So let's start prompting, I guess. Alright, so for starters, let's say, hi, I want to build a Rust backend using ActiveWeb. So a small disclaimer here. So this is obviously not the first time I've used ChatGPT. And to make it as efficient as possible, most of the time, I find that you have to be very specific with what you are typing here, or rather what you are trying to tell ChatGPT to help with, which is why we might have to write a passage for this. So, okay, hi, I want to build a Rust backend using ActiveWeb, comma, I want 3 endpoints. Okay, number 1, get endpoint name. Okay, let's make it exactly the same as what we did, right? Pizza that returns a list of pizzas. A post endpoint name by pizza that takes in a body with a pizza underscore name in it of type string in it. Okay, patch endpoint name update pizza. We also do the same format. So this will be UUID that is able to retrieve that UUID to identify which pizza to update and change the name to sold. Okay, let's make a small change here that returns a list of pizzas from our database, Surrealdb. So as you can see here, we are being as specific as possible. Yeah, so to not miss out any gaps. Using ActiveWeb with Surrealdb as our database. Okay, let's see if we are missing out anything here. We want 3 endpoints. We get endpoint name pizza, post endpoint name by pizza, and a patch endpoint name update pizza, of course with the UUID in the route itself. And lastly, what else do we need? So other than the 3 endpoints, we also have to ensure that, okay, I want this to run locally on the port 8080. So off the top of my head, this is as specific as I can get. And maybe just at the first line here, I want to build a new Rust project that is a Rust backend, comma, using ActiveWeb with Surrealdb as our database, as the framework, and Surrealdb as our database. Show me the code for all of this. Show me the commands, steps, and code for all of this. Right, let's see what happens when we send this to ChatGPT. Okay, step 1, create new Rust project. Okay, cargo new Rust pizza backend. We cd inside to it. We add ethics web, Surrealdb JSON, derive Surrealdb Tokyo. Okay, Tokyo is interesting. Initialize Surrealdb. Okay, sounds about right. Right, so if you notice on step 2, it says that okay, we can download Surrealdb here, which I have already done so we'll skip that. Okay, so this will start Surrealdb in memory mode. Okay, so here you can see, because we didn't specify that we wanted to use Surrealdb in persistent mode, okay, it didn't give us the command for that. Yeah, so this is why you really have to be very specific with this. Okay, so by default, there's already a main.rs. You can see all the code here. Okay, there's a struct pizza. There's a request body for buying a pizza. There's a database wrapper with arc and mutex for shared state. Okay, and this is our main function here. Okay, it's making a connection to Surrealdb here, right? And here is where we're using Surrealdb as the data layer for our ActiveSwap HTTP server. Okay, this is our get endpoint route handler. Okay, looks alright. Okay, but let's see if this really works or not. Okay, run the server, cargo run, test the endpoints. Okay, so let's go back to step 1, and I did promise that we are just going to use AI. So we are not going to make any modifications here at all. Okay, what we're going to do is just copy and paste, right? This is what only AI meant. So let's go back to step 1. So cargo new Rust pizza backend. So I'm going to copy that and go back to our terminal here. And let's paste that in. And it did say to cd into it. So I'm just going to do that right off the bat. And you can see at the start, okay, cargo has already generated some files for us. Okay, next, if we go back to the instructions from ChatGPT, it says we have to add a few crates. So let's do that. I'm going to copy this. Same thing. And let's go back to our terminal here. And cargo add. Let's just wait for this. Should take a while. Okay, by the way, this is all raw. There's no scripts. So you can think of this as a recorded live stream. Okay, and we're done. Okay, let's go back to ChatGPT again. And if we scroll down now to set up Surrealdb. Okay, so we're going to copy this as well. And let's go back to our terminal. And we're going to start Surrealdb here in memory mode as suggested by ChatGPT. Okay, although, okay, let's close that first. I might start this in another terminal since we are going to use this terminal to do a cargo run later. Yeah, so I've now started Surrealdb in another terminal, which you might not be able to see it, but to show you that it's working, if we go back to web browser here and go to Postman, you can see if I do localhost 8000/version, we should see, yep, you can see right above me the Surrealdb version that we are using. Right, this proves that Surrealdb is now running. It's up and running. So let's go back to ChatGPT. And the next instruction is to start working on our code. So up to now, I have not made any changes to any of the commands yet. So this is just purely AI. And of course, copying and pasting, yeah. Okay, so now we have to actually implement our main.rs. So we are going to copy the code here. And let's go back to our terminal once again. So I'm going to use Helix. Obviously, that's my daily driver. And we're going to open up main.rs. Let's remove this and paste everything that is given to us by ChatGPT. Right, so everything is here, all the crates that we are using. And yep, everything is here. Let's go back to ChatGPT and see what else do we need to do. If we scroll down to step 4, run the server. Okay, so let's go back to Helix here and I'm going to create. Let's clear this. So run the server, we're going to do cargo run. Let's see if we face any errors here. So right off the bat, we can see there's an error here. So we might need to upgrade Rust itself. So this is not ChatGPT's fault. But let's come back to this after I've done the upgrading. Alright, we are back from updating our Rust version. As you can see, you can do a Rust C version. Now it's 1.82.0. And now let's run the cargo run command again and see what happens. So this might take a while for it to compile. And we're done. Okay, so since we have quite a bit of errors, but let's scroll up and take a look here. Wow, can't say I'm not surprised. Okay, as you can see, so the first line of error is really from the code that we copy and pasted from Surrealdb. You can see right off the bat, we have some errors with this JSON macro here. Okay, we have a missing import. Even Rust is giving us a tip here. You can see here DB. We didn't implement. This error here says that the trait Surrealdb connection is not implemented for Surrealdb engine. Okay, basically it's a lot of trait errors here. Okay, more of the same, more of the same, more of the same. Yeah, so this is just what happens if you just copy and paste code from ChatGPT without verifying that it works or not. Luckily for us, all of these errors are at compile time because we're using Rust. Right? Just imagine if we're using Python or JavaScript, which allows you to run it even without verifying that it works. Yeah. Obviously, if you're using TypeScript, things might be slightly better. Yeah. All right. So doesn't seem like we were able to get it up and running using the code generated by ChatGPT, even though we tried to be quite specific. Let's move on to Claude. Okay, let me just scroll up all the way to copy what we prompted here. I'm going to copy all this and let's go to Claude. Okay, so this is what you'll see if you are trying out Claude. And okay, sure. Okay, let's prompt the same thing here. So we're going to paste this, all of this. Maybe let's do a better formatting. Okay, I want 3 endpoints. Same thing. We're going to prompt Claude exactly the same thing and we'll see if we are able to get our Rust backend running. Let's see. All right, and let's go. Let's see what Claude will prompt us with. Oh, okay. So the code appears on the right. Okay, that's cool. Okay. You can see it's generating all the code on the right, all the way to my right. And seems like the command, or rather the commands that we have to enter into our terminal is on the left. Okay, so let's start from the left here. So as you can see, it's telling us how to install Surrealdb and how to start it. And it's telling us to create a new Rust project. So we're going to do that. Okay, we're going to do exactly that by going back to our terminal here. And let's create a new project. Okay, so we'll do cargo new pizza underscore backend. Exactly what was given to us by Claude. And we'll cd into it. Same thing. Okay, this is exactly what was given to us by Claude. So now if you go back to here, you can see we just did this, right? These two lines. Yeah. And so replace the contents of cargo tom with the provided dependency. So that's at the top, I think. Yeah. So you can see all the way to my right. You can see that's our cargo.tom. Actually even has the commands here as commands. Okay, so in cargo tom, so it's asking us to replace what is in our cargo tom with all this. Okay, so I just copied that. Let's go back to our terminal here. And let's go into Helix. Let me just do this real quick. Okay, so cargo tom, let's remove everything here and paste this here. Save that, and let's go back to Claude once again. So what's the next step? So the next step, so actually before this, we do have to start Surrealdb. So I'm going to copy this. And once again, we're going to run Surrealdb in another terminal. So the reason for that is because it's just easier for me to record all this. So this will be, okay. And Surrealdb is now started. And to prove to you that it's now started, let's go back to our Postman again. You can see, once again, I'm hitting port 8000 on localhost and getting the version from it. So this is provided by default from Surrealdb. Okay, you can see that we have a response back. Okay, let's go back to Claude. So now it's telling us to replace the contents of main.rs with the provided code on the right here. So I'm going to highlight everything here. Everything. Copy. And let's go back to Helix. And we're going to our main.rs here, remove the main function and paste what we have been given by Claude. Okay, so I did promise that we are not going to do any modifications or changes or fixes. Let's see what Claude has for us. So it says to run the project. So there'll be a cargo run. Let me just copy that. And let's go back to our terminal. And let's do cargo run. Will this work or not? Let's find out. Once again, we have to compile since this is a different project, but we'll be back once this is done. All right, we are back and the compiling has completed. So the cargo run command has ran as well. And as you can see, we have some errors too. Okay, but we do have less errors as compared to the version that we did for when we use ChatGPT. So you can see here we only have 3 errors. So basically it's related to type annotations as suggested by Russ here. And if we go back to Claude, do we have any other instructions? No. Yeah, the rest are basically just how to test the 3 endpoints. Yeah, and that's about it. Okay, nothing else. There are no more steps after this. Which is kind of, well, I would say Not surprisingly, so from what we have observed from using both ChatGPT and Claude, right off the bat, as you can see, obviously we are not able to get the backends up and running due to the errors. Okay, but as you can see, even after giving it a very specific and quite detailed prompt, you still do need to know what you are doing, and you still need to know, or rather, you still need to be able to read the code and debug what's going on. There are a few things you can go, or there are a few ways you can go after this. Either way, you can continue prompting Claude again and tell it what's wrong, and maybe tell it to give you steps after further instructions. I mean, you could do the same thing with ChatGPT as well. So at the end, what I think and feel about using AI for building or developing stuff is this. If you're someone new and trying to learn a new language, for example, like Rust, use it to learn and pick up stuff. So maybe I'm searching for information, but if you are someone with experience and you want to use AI, for example, like ChatGPT or Claude, you can use it to kickstart maybe a boilerplate to help kick things off. But be careful with what you are given with and make sure you verify and test the code. Lastly, if you're someone with experience and if you find that it's a waste of time that you have to go back in and reprompt and refine your prompt and having to spend time having a long ass conversation going back and forth between, for example, ChatGPT or Claude here, then maybe it's better for you to just do it yourself, which might be faster if you are that seasoned. Right, so hopefully today's video has been eye-opening and entertaining and helpful to you. And as always, if you have not already done so, do drop a like and hit that subscribe button. And as always, stay awesome and stay safe. Cheers.